So capital gains and thinking about how that's going to affect someone when they sell is a big topic and something that we're going to be focusing on this week. What's up, Capstone family? This is Ed Capstone coming at you on Friday the 17th of May 2024. So this market is yielding more questions about the conversation: should you hold your property, should you sell it? We've talked in the past couple of weeks. There's a potential for capital gains tax to increase here if that were to pass. At the highest level of government there. And then what does that look like, and how does that affect you if you're thinking of selling here in the next few years? So let me start off by saying that I am not a tax advisor. We have two tax advisors that we refer people to. If you'd like either of their contact information, please let me know, and I can send you that templated email so you have both of their contacts and you can reach out to them if you'd like. However, going into this, I had a conversation this week with a couple of clients, and one in particular asked about the timing of the sale if they were to sell a property that they'd lived in here 2 of the last 5 years, which is the IRS requirement, right? And it's using the time and making sure that if we've got a tenant in the property right now and you've rented it out for 1 year, you lived in the property before you rented it out and you lived there at least 2 years, and now we've got a tenant in the property, when should you be thinking about selling it, or how soon do you have to avoid capital gains? So again, IRS talks about living in the property 2 of the last 5. Therefore, you need to sell it within 3 years of moving out. However, depending on the market, and like for us specifically, if we've got a tenant living in a property, that tenant can live there for 2 years before we have to really make sure that we get that property sold, because it's, to my understanding, it's a hard stop. At 3 years, it's a hard stop. So if you miss that deadline because the sale closes the day after, you're not going to be in great shape there, and you're going to have to pay the tax on it. Currently, capital gains rates are between 15 to 20%. Here's the issue, though, with all of it, and this is what came up with a couple of clients this week. The key is that it's a very personal conversation. If you asked me, hey Ed, what's the capital gains rate? Well, I should know, right? We deal with it all the time. However, I'm probably not going to elaborate further on what a potential outcome could look like in that situation unless I know your specifics. And I think where most people get caught up is they ask a question that can be answered in one line. What's capital gains right now in the States? Okay, it's, call it 15% if you make up to a certain amount, and over that amount you're paying 20%. Easy enough to answer. However, getting to understand what you're going to be responsible for and tying into the basis of the property and how much you've actually invested into it and how much you've written off on your taxes, how much you've depreciated, all these different factors come into figuring out how much you're going to have to pay at the end of the day. You didn't ask that question. You asked how much are capital gains. So where a professional can come into this is get into your personal situation and dig in and say, wait, hold on. Let's see how you've been filing your taxes in the past. Let's see how this is going to, work itself out given your particular circumstances, not just answering that question. And where I'm going with this is that if you ask somebody a question, you're going to get an answer, but you may not be getting the whole picture that's really answering your question, because your question was, maybe it was so narrow or too broad to where it didn't tie into your specifics. And I think that's where we get hung up. If you're looking at answers online, you're trying to figure it out on your own, more power to you. That, in my opinion, I do the same thing. I'm asking ChatGPT or Gemini all kinds of questions all the time. But at the end of the day, I've got to lean on my trusted advisors, because they know my circumstances, they know my situation, and I'm not gonna chance it because somebody gives me advice that they might not know the whole picture. Not to beat this to death, but this gets back to, I know I did a video on this not too long ago where I had a particular friend buying a property who wanted to drip on me here and there and ask questions about their transaction. And the worst thing a broker can do in that situation is to start giving advice when we don't know the whole picture, because I could have given the worst advice ever that would have been perfect for somebody else because I just didn't know, because I had blind spots in the transaction. And I think that's what we fall into when we're thinking that we're getting these answers online and getting the answers to our specific question. We just aren't. Hope this is helpful. We're dealing with this right now in having a lot of conversations with people who are maybe exiting the market or thinking that there might be a better place for them to put their stuff. Keep in mind, sounds like the market's going to be shifting a little bit when it comes to the market as a whole. Although, we have seen, stocks just soaring and higher than they've ever been, but there has to come a time that that's going to slow down, and real estate is still a great option. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing weekend. My son's graduated today. It's his last day of school. I'm super pumped on that. It's amazing to see this flipping 17-year-old kid who used to be just this big. I mean, he's in this picture. Look at this guy right here. Where's the time go? Thanks for watching. See ya.